Pitching matchup tonight at Citi Field, and boy, aces, a couple Cy Young Award winners. First pitch is coming up next. The sun is actually shining today as the fans wait in line for what should be a great matchup. And yes, the hair is painted correct colors, I might point out. The kids are fired up at Citi Field. The flowers in bloom, and what a great pitching matchup today as the Mets and Cardinals do battle. Mets trying to win a series. From Citi Field in New York, it's the St. Louis Cardinals taking on the New York Mets. And this Mets game on SNY presented in HD by IOTV. Get the best in HD free with IOTV. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the broadcast. Alongside Ron Darling, I'm Kevin Burkhardt, filling in for Gary Cohen. And the Hall of Famer, Ralph Kiner, will be along a little bit later. Ronnie, we have to start with the Mets offense last night. This is a team that got shut out the other night by Joel Pinheiro. They come back last night with an 11-run, 16-hit attack, and they did it in a multitude of ways on the offense against Brad Thompson. Offense coming from all angles as we take a look last night. Started with this guy, Nick Evans, the home run, the power that's been lacking. That was a big hit to put him up 4 early in the game. And then, well, David Wright's been hitting all year, and it continued. His 14th career 4-hit game for Wright last night. This one going in the quarter. And how about Brian Schneider? 12 RBIs and 12 games back from the disabled list. More power from this guy, Ryan Church, who for the first time in his career went the other way for base hits 3 times. All told, 16 hits, 11 runs for the Mets. And it really was a nice recovery after getting shut down the night before. But you have a feeling that today could be a little bit tougher against Chris Carpenter. But first, let's talk about the Mets and Johan Santana, who seemed to quiet all the fears with his last start against Tampa Bay.
Well, you know, Kevin, he went the deepest he's gone all season long, 7 1/3 innings in his last start. He was outstanding, but the Mets did not hit in that ballgame. Something that was really a theme of his season early in the season, but he's gotten more runs as of late, and he's going to have to be on top of his game because Chris Carpenter of the St. Louis Cardinals is equal to the task. One of the best right-handers in the game. He's been hurt the last couple of seasons, but when he's on the field, you see what he can do. 5-1, outstanding pitcher from Manchester, New Hampshire.
Another guy the Mets are going to have to worry about, that break, that sharp break to the ground. Trying to get the ball in the air today will be no easy task. We've got 3 Cy Young Awards between these two guys. A great day in New York. Should be some baseball game tonight as the Mets and Cardinals here from Citi Field. First pitch is coming up. Johan, and more Johan. See if he can do the job as the Mets look to take the series. Coming up next. Generation refreshes the world at refresheverything.com. McDonald's introducing the new Mac Snack Wrap. Classic Big Mac taste, size of snack. I'm loving it. Fox Business Network. Opportunity, pure and simple. And by the all-new, all that 2010 Mazda 3. Well, limited number of tickets for this weekend's Subway Series games are available at Mets.com or by phone. 718-507-TIXX. Get your Subway Series tickets right now. Take a look at the Jeep around the majors from last night. Well, Pat Burrell hadn't hit a home run in a long time, but he did fittingly against his former team as the Rays knocked off the Phillies last night to help out the Mets. A strange play for the Brewers as Jason Kendall hit what was a tying two-run double and a couple of errors, and he scored on the play. And the Brewers won a wacky game there to snap a slump. Miguel Olivo, remember him, the former Marlin catcher? His 11th home run came at a good time. It came in the 11th inning, led the Royals over the Astros. And then, Ronnie, this is really a huge story. For the first time in his career, John Smoltz will start in a uniform that's not Atlanta Braves.
So Jason Kendall for the Brewers, a Little League home run, right, Kevin? And Smoltz, of course, going to replace Dice K in that rotation. That's a nice organization when you can have Smoltz replace Dice K.
That's okay. Well, there you see the two pitchers. Johan having fun. Carpenter a little bit more focused. Is that Keith? No, he's not really here. But he's here in spirit. Fans getting ready. Johan, Carpenter, Mets Cards, next.
Great job, Kevin. That a boy. Well, that's one way to get guns, I guess. Get a little bruise there on the right bicep. Brian, time for you to hit the beach.
Yeah, that would be nice. Check out the Cardinals starting lineup today, and you take a look at Skip Schumacher, who's making his first start in left field of the season. Of course, he's a former outfielder who's been converted to second base, and he's also a pretty good hitter, by the way. You see what he's done in this series. Also, Ryan Ludwig, who got last night off, is back in the outfield, that power bat behind Albert Pujols for the Cards.
Well, Santana getting the start today. Handling Pujols is going to be one of his keys. 8-5 so far this year. 61 games over 500 in his career. 117 and 56. Has over 1,600 innings pitched and 1,600 Ks. the Lexus Mets defense. You see Tatis in left field. This is his 7th game started. No errors in 32 career games for Evans. But remember, he only started in 3 games at first base last year. His 2nd start today. And Santos, 6 for 22 would-be base stealers. This is his 34th game started coming into the season. 11 total games and 10 at-bats for O'Meara.
Not bad at all for the start of his Mets career, as Brendan Ryan will step it in and lead it off for the Cards. And we are underway with the first pitch strike from Santana. Ryan's had a nice series. He's gone 5 for 10. He's got that average up to 317, and he's really kind of stepped in and cemented himself as a Cardinals starting shortstop now. Khalil Green, he went out, now over to third base. And Ronnie, we've seen a lot of good things from him. He's defensively as well. Well,
what you like about him is that he hits the ball the other way. He doesn't walk a lot. That's one of his problems. Only 8 base-off balls this year. He's going to have to get a little better at that if he's in the leadoff spot. That's why he's been hitting 9th. But you know what? Schumacher on deck, he's got great hustle. And hustle in today's game sticks out like a sore thumb.
Santana falls behind 2-1 to Ryan, the opening batter of the game here on, dare I say it, a gorgeous day at Citi Field for a change. This one to center, chases Fernando Martinez back, and he makes the catch. 1 away.
Well, Jerry was talking about Fernando Martinez today, and he said the reason he took a chance on putting him in center field was that he just felt he was a good outfielder on the corners and get the job done. But he just had the longest strides and really outran this baseball. Looked like a double off the bat. Look at those long strides, a la Beltran, and catches that right in the heel of the glove.
You know what Jerry said about F. Mart? He said he flows to and fro. It's like a poem.
Very good.
But you saw the good jump and the good speed. So 1 away for Skip Schumacher.
More like haiku, Kevin.
That's actually true. Got to get that straight. Down low for ball 1 to Schumacher. And this is a guy who's, Ronnie talked about the hustle, probably really underappreciated around the league. Sure, not so much in St. Louis for what he's able to do outside from Johan. He is hit well, too, against New York. In 21 games against the Mets, he's got a 364 average and a 453 on-base percentage. There's been a little bit of a thorn. Santana falling behind 3-0 with the big guy, Mooming. There's a strike with the heater from Santana. And Johan probably wishing that all those runs last night, there's carryover minutes. Are there carryover runs?
That's right. He said, stop at 7, boys.
And there's a reason. As now count goes full. Because Johan's average run support this year is 3.1 runs per game. That is, by the way, the 3rd lowest in Major League Baseball.
Well, he won't hear any argument from Carpenter. Carpenter for the Cardinals, 3.2 run support so far this season.
Payoff, opposite field base hit for Schumacher. So he continues his mastery of Mets pitching.
Well, you saw last night Schumacher took a lot of at-bats deep. Saw a lot of pitches. Same in here against Santana. Nice stroke in that outside fastball. Not trying to do too much with it. Eye on the ball. Bat hitting that about equal with the plate and driving that ball to left field.
So now Pujols, who the Mets have actually done a pretty nice job containing in this series. He's 2 for 9 with 3 walks and the big 2 RBIs the other night in the Pinheiro game when he made it a 3-run game. But they've kept him off balance. As it starts him off inside. Ronnie working outside a lot, trying to make him go the other way.
It's going to be the opposite, though, with Santana. Santana likes to pitch right-handers in. Why? Because that fastball in sets up his changeup away. Here's the changeup from Santos. Fastball in, changeup away.
A little outside. Cardinals, Schumacher has some speed, but the Cardinals aren't very much of a running team stolen base-wise. Certainly a contrast to what they were in the 80s. In fact, their leading base stealer is the guy at the plate. Albert Pujols has 9.
Good call. Fastball away in this ballpark.
And just misses. So Santana falling behind early in the first 3 batters of the game. He's got Pujols 3-0. And what do you do here? 3-0 against this guy.
That'd be punt. Good observation, though, Kevin. Santana a little rusty right now with his fastball. Cannot throw it where he wants. Let's see if he can place his 3-0 fastball on the outside half.
8 balls and 5 strikes early on for Johan, but he jams Pujols here. Cora battles the sun, makes the play. 2 down. So he comes back from 3-0 to get Albert Pujols. Not an easy task. And now 2 down for Ryan Ludwig, who is not having quite the same production he did a year ago, but he still is a big-time home run threat. The oddity is that when he gets a hold of one, he usually goes out of the park because he hasn't hit a double since April 25th.
Well, we saw him in the first game of the series, a hanging slider from Tim Redding, 2-run home run to left field.
Big cut there and got Santos a little bit, and it hit him actually.
No, that's catcher's interference. Late swing by Ludwig hits the glove of Santos. Watch, right there.
Oh, you're right, it got the gloves.
Very late swing. That catcher's interference is always a big stumbling block for me, because you are penalized. The defensive team is penalized because Ludwig swung too late. This ball is by him. Santos is not reaching for the ball. He's waiting for it. But see, Ludwig swings almost like he's trying to hit the glove. Of course he wasn't, but the Mets are penalized for that.
So how do you, as a catcher, defend against that?
You can't. I think the only way, maybe when Ludwig comes up next time, maybe come back 6-7 inches from behind the plate, get a little deeper.
So catcher's interference gives the Cardinals 2 on and 2 out now for Yadier Molina, who got the day off last night, back in there today. As that one goes out of play. A lot of people talk about Santana, and of course after he got rocked around by the Yankees concern, and after his last start against Tampa, he was pretty forceful with the media and saying how no one should really know what's wrong with him. There's nothing wrong with him. He's fine. I think the one thing that you look at with him is the contact. And Elias gave us a pretty good note about that today. As the 0-1 hit to center, and that's going to fall in front of Fernando Martinez. Schumacher comes around, he will score, and the Cardinals have jumped out in front of Santana and the Mets 1-0.
Well, nice hitting by Molina on the changeup from Santana, and Schumacher. What a great jump off second and a great read. Changeup away, goes with the pitch. That's what you have to do against Santana. And Fernando Martinez, who plays pretty deep. Good read by Schumacher, who just took off. Never looked twice. How do you do that? Well, you know where the outfielders are, so as soon as the ball is hit, you got the perfect read. For you people at home, of course, the catcher's interference always is scored in your scorecard at E2.
Anyway, finish the thought on Santana. You know, his first 10 starts of the year, batters didn't make contact 30% of the time when they swung. Last 4 starts in June, they didn't make contact half that, 15.8% of the time. And he's falling behind a little bit early here today. As Rick Ankiel with a hefty cut and a miss, he's behind 0-1. And Keel's had a tough series, 0 for 11. And he's 4 for 24 on the road trip. And there you see Santana. Doesn't usually get hit around in the first too often. Trying to extinguish an early threat here. And he pops him up. Tatis puts it away, and the inning is over. But with some help from a catcher's interference, the Cardinals scratch across a run. Mets will face Carpenter coming up next. today. There you see what he did last night. 3 for 4, the double, the 2 RBIs, and all 3 to the opposite field. Tatis in there after a big night as well, facing this guy.
Well, Carpenter so far in his career, 105 and 72. That's 33 games over 500. If you remember, the last time he faced the Mets was the opening day in St. Louis in 07 when he hurt his elbow and had to have elbow surgery. Now back and fully recovered.
Fully recovered, I'll say. He has been phenomenal since coming off the DL with an oblique strain. As Cora quickly in the hole, 0-2. Carpenter strained his oblique swinging a bat, and since coming back has just been unbelievable. On the year, 5-1 with a 1.53, and 58 2/3 innings. He's allowed 32 hits as the breaking ball just missed.
And that's the reason right there. When he gets ahead of you, he has that curveball that he can throw not only down and in as Castillo's on deck, but also backdoor to the left-handers.
Little outside and away as Cora trying to get things started for the Mets, who fell behind early against Santana. Help of a catcher's interference. Yadier Molina with an RBI single at the top of the first. 2-2. Cora has done a very nice job, as you see Dave Duncan looking on. In the absence of Reyes, he's got an on-base percentage of .370. He's hit .306 his last 9 games, scored 4 runs, and he's given you some good at-bats.
That ball's behind him. Did you see that?
Yeah, and it did get him.
Oh, it got him on the back of the leg.
He did a little tango, but it got him, and the Mets have a leadoff runner here.
I don't know what's the greatest thing, that it missed and didn't hit him flush, or that Molina caught the ball. It hit him on the back heel, it looked like.
I don't know how Molina caught that ball. How could he possibly see it?
Here's the Cardinals defense. Kevin already mentioned first game in left field for Schumacher, who started second base the first 3 nights. Ludwig's got 4 assists in right field. Khalil Green at third base, usually a shortstop. Ryan's been very impressive, and Molina got to be very careful. He'll throw to any base at any time.
And so here's Castillo now, who's had a good series so far. He's 5 for 9, 3 runs scored. And you see overall numbers on Castillo. Good on base percentage. This one could be a 2. Ryan to second, and a little bit of a high throw, and Thurston no turn, so just the force at second base.
Well, Ryan with the throw kind of sails on him a little bit and catches Thurston almost unaware. Castillo with that good speed. I think it would have been difficult to double him up, but Thurston just barely made that play as that ball sailed over his head. A little chuckle for Ryan.
Cora was getting ready for the big time slide, but didn't need it there. So one away for David Wright, who had his 14th career 4-hit game last night, and that average just keeps on going up. 356. That's tops in the National League. It's hitting .407 in the month of June, and there's strike 1 with the fastball to David. Breaking balls outside. You know, I think one thing for Wright too, Ronnie, that's kind of gone under the radar is he's already now with the steal last night. He's got 19 steals. He already has more than he had all of last year, and he's second in the National League behind Michael Bourne, who has 24 steals. He's really kind of brought that back into his game. Talk about the home runs, which haven't come, and this one's a drive to center and Keel makes the play. Castillo nowhere to go, but he's kind of replaced the home runs with the speed game.
I think you're right, Kevin. He's recognized how big this ballpark is, just like that on that fly ball, and is going to add the stolen base back to his repertoire. He's second in the majors, first in the National League, like you said, Kevin. That average, a guy from Seattle named Ichiro Suzuki at 361 the start of the day.
So here's Ryan Church, who had the big night last night in that cleanup spot, and Jerry Manuel rewards him by putting him right back there. 2 down and Castillo on first here in the first. Couple of Cy Young Award winners matching up on the hill tonight. The finale of a 4-game set. Breaking ball, strike one.
Well, the key for Church, when he is hitting well, he's hitting the ball the other way. What does that mean? Well, it means he's staying on the baseball. His problem is pulling out too early. He's got great pop to the opposite way. When he's driving the ball like that, he's on top of his game.
Taking here on the outside corner. So Church in the hole 0-2. And last night he said incentive. Howard Johnson made a little friendly bets that he couldn't do it more than a couple times in a game. So he went oppo 3 times. Don't know what the reward was, but he is back in there in that 4 hole.
2 doubles, 2 RBIs, 2 runs scored. Jerry said before the game today, I found it very funny. He said, if you have a good game, you're going to be back in the lineup. I mean, with the depleted troops, that is how he's making his lineup, playing the hot hands.
We'll talk to Jerry a little bit later in the game, I should add, as Church cut on and missed. The tag applied by Molina, and the Mets are down here in the first inning. 1 in the books. Cardinals up on the Mets early. Eastpan Park, online at brooklyncyclones.com or by calling 718-507-TIXX or at Citi Field. Get your Cyclones tickets right now as Johan Santana starts inning number 2 against Khalil Green. Just off the disabled list over the weekend, and he takes strike 1. Now that's awesome.
How did he graduate if he's here?
Maybe it was an early morning ceremony.
Oh, okay.
Took the train in.
Oh.
You questioning whether he actually has legitimate graduation?
I want to see the sheet.
Well, whatever it worked, the poster got him on the air. How about that? Santana had a Green 0-2, and he fans at the chain, strike 3. So a good start to the second for Santana after a tough first.
His changeup was up in the first inning by the way you saw Molina have that base hit. This one has the kind of action that you like to see from Santana. Kevin, your son Logan's young age, pre-K. I mean, how do you graduate if you can take a nap?
Do they have
time, right? That's
do they have ceremonies for that? I mean, like, you know, it was only just high school before or college. Now it's like they have ceremonies for every grade. Carpenter, the pitcher, goes the other way. Something about St. Louis pitchers hitting in this series. Pinheiro had a couple of knocks the other night, and now Carpenter.
And Carp is not a very good hitter. And you see that is not, you know, for all those guys that work in the cage over and over, the hitters, to try to get that perfect stroke, you see that stroke can even produce a hit.
Sometimes you run into one. Joe Thurston gets a start at second base today, even after a questionable play for him at second base yesterday when he failed to turn around and try and turn 2, but Tony La Russa puts him in there. Line drive type hitter. He does have 14 doubles and 171 at bats.
Well, Carpenter now, Kevin, is 23 for 242.
He's not exactly Albert Pujols, is what you're saying. Little low, Johan, on that 2-0. Carpenter, it's amazing. Sometimes you look at different stats and different numbers, but I think this is a pretty good one. Games that he started in his career, the Cardinals have a .686 winning percentage. They're 72-33. Pretty good gauge.
Yeah.
And Santana losing Thurston here, and he's behind him 3-0.
Very interesting. Tried to go with the 2-0 slider. You know, for most pitchers that we see, that's not a bad pitch count, 26, 15, and 11. But we've seen Santana where he is just a strike machine early. That's when you know he is on.
It's his third 3-0 count in this ball game already, but he comes back with a strike. You know, the game against Tampa, a lot of people looked at his velocity. He hit 94 a couple times in that game. But it seemed like the hitters were going after the fastball, which was a little high in that game. I'd like to know your take on that, Ronnie. Trying to avoid that changeup. It's been high a little bit early in this game. And that's outside with the off speed. So after retiring Khalil Green on 3 pitches to start it off, Santana runs into trouble, and the Cardinals have 2 on for the top of the order.
Kevin, even for the great ones, and Johan Santana is one of the great ones, when you don't feel like you have your good fastball, you'll sometimes overthrow to get there. Every time you try to overthrow to get there, the ball will be up in the strike zone. Every single time.
And Dan Worthen watches closely as the Cardinals turn over the lineup, and Brendan Ryan, who flew out to Fernando Martinez in center his first time, will get an opportunity here. Carpenter certainly doesn't run well off second for the Cards. Thurston average speed at first. There's Thurston. Temperatures today were supposed to be around 90, but it's not nearly that warm. It's actually quite comfortable out at Citi Field right now. Sun keeps poking in and out of the clouds. And again, Santana is upstairs, so he falls behind 2-0 to Brendan Ryan. Great shot. Good crowd for a Thursday businessman special. Dangerous spot for Santana now, behind 2-0. And there, bottom drops out. 2-1.
Well, Brendan Ryan guessing fastball in the 2-0 count. What's he get? Oops, the little changeup.
Santana seemed like he's trying to find the groove, trying to find the pace.
Yeah, he is lost right now. He doesn't feel comfortable. Very rarely see him throw 3 straight changeups to a hitter like Brendan Ryan.
This one tapped to short slowly. Tough play. Cora will just go to third. Only thing he could do with that, really, is Carpenter's forced out. 2 away.
You know, that was good play for the Mets that Carpenter was on the bases. The reason being, I don't think he throws Ryan out at first base, even if he comes up with his baseball. So Carpenter avoiding Cora, the easy out at third base. Always heads up for Alex Cora.
And you know what?
The easy play.
Sorry, Ronnie. You know what? The way he was coming in that ball, it's a good point, because if the runner was already by him, I don't think he would have even looked at third. The fact that he kind of got in his way made him look that way. And it worked out. Schumacher now with 2 on and 2 down. He's got a single and the Cardinal run for his first at bat. Coming home on Yadier Molina's 2-out single. Santana falls behind 1-0. Santana's really got to bear down, because El Hombre, Albert Pujols, looming on deck. He of the 9 career Grand Slams and 3 this year. Inside. Santos had to lunge for that one, and clearly Johan's having control issues at this point.
He does better than anyone in baseball release this ball in front of his body. His problem today is that he is just a little late with releasing that fastball. See where his arm is? It is straight right here. That is right even with his body. He, when he's good, is throwing that ball out in front of his body.
Schumacher takes 3-0. Is that what Dan Worthen talked about when he talked about Johan 2 starts ago catapulting the baseball.
Yes, it's catapulting, shot putting, it's all those different things. It's almost like a hot potato. You can't wait to get that ball out of your hand. You got to let your body catch up.
4th time already Johan's going 3-0 on a batter. There's a strike. And you've just got to give Schumacher something to hit. You cannot load the bases for Albert Pujols.
He does pretty well the last 5 at-bats this season with the bases loaded. 5 for 5, 3 grand slams. He has 9 for his career.
Big pitch, 3-1. And it's high, ball 4. Oh, boy. Second walk for Santana in this inning, and the bases are loaded for Albert Pujols. With runners in scoring position this year, Pujols batting .365. And as Ronnie talked about, with the bases loaded, he is off the charts. Perfect. 5 for 5 with 3 grand slams.
Going back to last year, he's 8 for 8. 9 grand slams in his career. That ties Stan Musial. Any other pitcher for the Mets in this situation, Dan Warthen, the pitching coach, would have been out to visit him, not Santana.
Well, this is obviously a critical point in this game in the early going. Cardinals up 1-0. Santana's struggling. He's already up to 38 pitches in the second inning, 2 down. And Pujols taking all the way.
See defensively, see David Wright is all the way really on that line, anticipating the pull from Pujols.
And he does pull one deep to left. Tatis going back, and he's going to have room and make the catch. So he just jammed him enough, and Pujols flies out with the bases loaded. Santana escapes. Mets down by 1. Makeup game in Pittsburgh, and the Phillies tough, that's for sure. Fernando Tatis leads it off for the Mets here after Santana pulled out the magic hat and got Albert Pujols with the bases loaded for the first time all year. Mets down 1-0. Tomorrow starting pitchers brought to you by Mercedes. CC Sabathia is fine after that little biceps thing caused him to be out of that game for the second inning completed against Mike Pelfrey. It'll be tomorrow in the Subway Series. As Thurston puts it away, and there's 1 away. And if you're in the car, listen to every Mets game on Sports Radio 66 WFAN. Of course, our boys Howie Rose and Wayne Hagan with the call there. It's Fernando Martinez, who has really struggled at the plate. You see his average. 21 games so far. He's got 5 doubles and 6 RBIs. And he's been on top of a lot of balls, tapping a lot of ground balls for him lately. Hasn't been able to drive too many balls. Ronnie, what are you seeing from him at the plate?
Well, I think what happens with young guys, he's just pressing a little bit. It's only natural. I think one of the things he can do that'll help him, and this is a very strange thing because it has nothing to do with the field. Argenis Reyes has come up, and they're very close. And just having a guy who's a young guy, who's a buddy of his, will help him, as we see Jose Reyes, who's started hitting again.
Tough to lay off that one, and he didn't. Strike 3. Second strikeout for Carpenter.
Well, I think behind Roy Halladay, who used to be a teammate of Carpenter's, the best right-handed breaking ball in the game.
I mean, that is such a hard. It's such a hard break. It's almost K-Rod-ish in some ways.
Well, that's the problem with it, is that it starts up in the strike zone where you want a pitch as a breaking ball, but it just keeps breaking. It ends up in the dirt, and that's why these guys are surprised.
That's the thing. He gets a lot of strikeouts with balls that land in the dirt before the plate because of that sharp break. Well, Nick Evans certainly was a big story last night with that 2-run home run. He got a breaking ball from Thompson, and he almost slipped. He swung so hard and crushed it into the left field seats. It's his first at-bat against Carpenter. We take a look back to last night.
Well, they asked Jerry when did he know that Evans was going to be in the lineup today. He said as soon as that hanging slider came to the plate and he put the swing on it, he knew he was going to be back in there.
Behind in the count 0-2. Flails at it to stay alive. And here's a little evidence on how the pitchers have started today. We know Santana has struggled so far trying to find his rhythm, and he's had 4 3-0 counts. Carpenter now in 7 batters has 7 first pitch strikes. Jerry Manuel looks on. There is Carpenter, who, by the way, is a very big man. In case you didn't know, talking with him the other day. Breaking ball, strike 3. Boy, he is on with that breaker, and that could be trouble today for the Mets. So the Mets down in order in the second. Santana trying to get on track when we come back. The pitcher's high speeds brought to you by AT&T. Santana's 93-mile-an-hour pitch, the hardest he threw today by far, and it came on the Pujols out.
The only one he threw so far was 93 miles an hour. So not great location to Pujols, but just beat him enough to get him out of that second inning.
And so here the Cardinals in the third inning now, leading 1-0. Could have been a whole lot worse, but he got Pujols with the bases loaded in the second. And Ryan Ludwig, who actually reached on the catcher's interferences last time up. So it's a plate appearance, no at-bat. It was officially 0 for 0 after reaching on what is charged as an error to Omir Santos. Turned out to be a big play, and the Cardinals scoring the only run of this ball game so far. Carpenter taking a rest in between innings, and he has looked good. 3 strikeouts. That breaking ball is sharp today. Santana looking sharp so far this inning.
That's a great sign. That fastball at the knees inside is a pitch he's got to have to set up the rest of his game.
Ryan Ludwig has gone through quite a lot in his career. He's got a titanium rod in his hip. He's had 2 knee surgeries. After the 0-2 season, he broke his hip halfway through, very similar to what Bo Jackson did when he played for the Raiders, when he was tackled by, I can't remember who it was in the Bengals. Difference is Bo Jackson broke all the way through, so he was done. They were able to insert a rod and kind of save his career. He couldn't really run without a limp for 2 years. Santos gives chase, makes the play, 1 away. As he jokes, not like I was stealing 40 bags anyway, but he's made a nice recovery. Here's Molina, who's got the RBI single for the Cardinals in this one so far. You'd argue he's the best catcher in the game. He's got it all. Defensively, he had a .304 year at the plate last year. Met fans don't ever want to see him again. So, enough said. Santana starts him off upstairs. It's 0-1.
Well, that was at that other field, Kevin.
Correct. Where everything was left across the street. Actually, across the parking lot. Carlos Delgado around the team today and actually had a bat in his hands. Met fans would be happy to know. He carrying that bat around, looking in very good shape, and Jerry Manuel was asked about that, and he was going to use the eye track machine. Remember, we did a feature on that a couple weeks ago with Mike Victorine, who fires those tennis balls at you, designed you to watch. Jerry said he wasn't supposed to swing the bat, but he says who knows, he might have tried it, taken a cut or two. But that's certainly good news for Carlos Delgado. It's a sign that he's on track. Molina hangs in, and you know, obviously they're not going to give a timetable on him, but pretty good gift for his 37th birthday today.
Here we go.
Two to Molina. Line shot over right. Base hit. Just enough to get over David Wright's head. Cardinals have a 1-out base runner here in the 3rd. Well, you see Jerry Manuel, we will be talking to him right after the Cardinals hit. We will not be taking a commercial, so no snack break for you in this half inning. We'll have the manager on headset and get what's on his mind today as he faces the Cardinals and just trying to win a series run. I think, you know, for this team to kind of have some oomph going into the weekend to get a series win, which they haven't had in a while now. Ankiel stands in. He flew out to left his first time up. Super stat man Dave Free tells us Kevin Walker, the Bengal linebacker that ended Bo Jackson's career with that shoestring tackle.
Very good, David.
Nothing gets by you, Dave.
Let's work on the baseball now.
Is that what we're doing? 91 from Santana on that heater inside. So it's 1-1 to Ankiel.
Very interesting. Almost like a two-seamer. Watch this ball run down and in. That's a pitch you don't see very often from Johan Santana. Maybe making a little adjustment here with his fastball.
Would you pull that out mid-game if your regular fastball is not going the way it is? Would you just kind of say, you know what, I'm going to try this?
On some days you just got to make up pitches as Evans makes that play.
Because we rarely see him throw that.
Well, what's good about Santana is that he just, you know, has a PhD in pitching. He just knows what to do. He reacts off the hitters. And great pitchers, when they have their good stuff, Kevin, which is about a third of the time, always have a great game. When a third of the time, when they're not feeling so great, they find a way to win. And when they have that, they don't have their stuff that day, they find a way for their team to win. Santana's in that category.
Khalil Green with 2 down now, to runner on. Big cut and a miss of the off speed.
Well, now that changeup is starting to be below the knees and lower. So you always have to remember, great pitchers, if they can get through that little hiccup, sometimes their stuff will come back to them.
Weakly hit. And look, yeah, Santana looks like he's starting to kind of get there. And remember, his pitch count is high. I mean, you look at what he's done so far. Certainly 56 pitches, not where you want to be in the third inning. But Fernando Nieve had that 39 pitch inning, and he was able to go 6 and would have come out for the 7th last night. So plenty more game to go, and it's only 1-0 game St. Louis. Great pitchers do, trying to right the ship. Green hangs in, and with Carpenter on deck, it would be nice to get him so the pitcher would lead off the next inning.
We'll see the motion from the stretch, very compact. Although he is not that tall, you see that nice leg kick, very powerful stride a la Billy Wagner. That's how he gets that torque on the baseball and throws it in the 90s.
0-2 to Green, and he hits one to left center. Martinez. Easy play. Inning over. Good inning for Johan Santana, rebounding after that tough second inning, as the Cardinals have that 1-0 lead. It's Kevin and Ron upstairs. Let's first ask you about what you're seeing from your pitcher. It looked like in that inning, Johan started to find himself. The changeup looked pretty sharp there. What are you seeing from him?
Well, same thing. I think he's starting to kind of find his rhythm out there. And, he had to compete and kind of wrestle with himself there the first couple innings. Hopefully he's found his groove and can get going for us, can get that pitch count back down for me. That's what I need to see.
Maybe he has to go 130 today.
Yeah.
Hey, Jerry, two of your guys that you need to come through, Fernando Tatis and Ryan Church, of course. I think one of the key at-bats last night was Tatis' single up the middle, and Church going the other way, of course, 3 times. Is that what you like to see from those 2 hitters?
Oh, no question. I mean, that's exactly we know that's the prerequisite to being a good hitter, is being able to take pitches the other way. That means you're staying on pitches, you're not leaking out, trying to create power, those types of things, and that's exactly what we need those guys to do.
Jerry, Oliver Perez and John Maine will both make starts for the Brooklyn Cyclones this weekend. So, you're going to go with the regular rotation this week.
Right.
How are you going to go about making the decision about where these guys are going to go when they're ready?
Well, it depends really on how we continue to pitch at this level. If Fernando Nieve continues to do what he's doing, we're going to stay with him. If Tim Redding does what he's been doing, we're going to stay with him. We'll just have to be somewhat conservative until we need to be aggressive, or if that point comes.
Jerry, thanks so much for the time. Good luck rest of the way.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Very nice of Mets manager Jerry Manuel to join us in game for the Business of Baseball, brought to you by Xerox, ready for real business, as Omir Santos will lead it off for the Mets here in the home 3rd inning. Santos had a big night in the opener of this series with a career-high 4 for 4 Monday night.
He got 4 hits that night on 8 pitches. So what does Carpenter do? He starts him out with a little slider. Make sure that he stays out of the middle of the plate early in the count to Santos.
It's now 14 straight strikes for Chris Carpenter. 22 pitches, now 23 pitches and 18 strikes, as that one finally missed. I think that's what's called on point. Catches the corner there. So we hear Jerry talking about the pitching situation. Maine and Perez will go for the Cyclones this weekend, and certainly that gives you some more time to see how Redding does, and Nieve maybe gets you one more spot, gives you some more time to think. How do you see this playing out, Ronnie? I mean, when you look at it as it is right now, let's take that scenario. What would you do with Maine and Perez?
Well, I think that the difficult call is that Redding and Nieve have been 2 of your strengths in your rotation.
Boy, painted the inside corner. Santos didn't like it.
By the way, Omar Santos is saying right now, well, I just watched a half-hour tape with Howard Johnson, and I didn't see that ball breaking like that. And that ball right there, you saw Ron Coppola has a pretty good big strike zone today. That ball seemed to come around the inside part of the plate.
4 strikeouts for Carpenter. That's his 3rd straight. Now Santana will try and have the fun of hitting Carpenter.
There's so many decisions you have to make. Not only are they ready, is Oliver Perez, mentally feeling like he's back? Nieve and Redding are pitching great. Do you put one of those pitchers in the bullpen? I mean, all of those factors are weighing in, and I think a lot of it has to do what Jerry said. If the Mets continue to get good pitching from Nieve and Redding, then it's very hard to take them out of the rotation.
Santana down on strikes. Carpenter is mowing him down. His 4th straight strikeout. He's got 5 for the game.
Again, no mercy. In fact, the Johans should have a talk with Carpenter. No way the pitcher on pitcher should be able to throw that pitch as Santana goes down.
His breaking ball is phenomenal today. And, when you talk about that situation, you have Oliver Perez, who just signed a $36 million deal, who could be in middle relief. John Maine, who Jerry talked about last year as a reliever. It never really happened because he never actually did pitch when Jerry said he would use him out of the bullpen. But you have the potential for 2 of what you thought coming into, and I don't know if they would do this, but you have the potential for 2 of the guys who you thought would be locks in your rotation to be out of the bullpen, if that's even conceivable. Cora hits one to right, and Ludwig should put this away for what should be an easy inning for Chris Carpenter. He is on fire right now. Good news is when we come back, we've got Ralph Kiner in the booth with us, so stay tuned for that.
Got one of them.
Good one. Welcome you back to Citi Field. Cardinals leading the Mets 1-0, and we are honored to be joined by the Hall of Famer Ralph Kiner in your booth, by the way. So welcome to your own booth, Ralph.
Well, thank you very much. It's good to be back here. And of course, one of those players I'd have to guess is Musso, right?
In the 1980s.
Oh,
the 1980s.
Well, he played forever.
He was so good he probably could have got 14 hits in his 80s.
Yeah, right.
There was some left over that just count for other decades.
That's right.
Now we got a problem here today. You're not supposed to talk about no hit and run games, and we got one going there, and there's a good chance you might see one if you stick around.
That's right.
Well, after an 11-run outburst by the Mets, you didn't have the feeling this would be an offensive showing today. His first strike to Carpenter, it's 2-1 with these 2 guys, and Santana looks like he got on track a little bit the last inning. Carpenter has been simply phenomenal. 1-0 Cards. That thanks to a Yadier Molina RBI single in the first inning.
Well, when you watch Johan Santana, see his release point, see how it's even with his body coming right down. He likes to have that more in front of him. That's the key, is a walk to the pitcher does not make it any better.
That is the 5th time this season that Johan Santana has walked an opposing pitcher, which is kind of hard to believe.
Well, you see his motion. This is perfect balance. And then as he takes that long stride, the key for Santana is he pitches off a stiff front leg. Even though he's not 6'2" or 6'3", that stiff front leg kind of catapults him and keeps him very tall, and that's why he has that good downward arc to his pitches.
Well, the one thing about that, Brian, is the fact that that's the way you hit.
Yeah.
Same way.
Off a
you have a stiff
leg.
You have a stiff left leg and hit against that leg. And then your hips turn around and around that pole, so to speak, which is called a leg. And that's exactly the way the game is played. And it's the same thing in golf, the same thing in other sports.
Good bunt by Thurston. Santos goes to first, sacrifice. And it's 2-4 for Joe Thurston. Cardinals put a runner in scoring position.
Well, not very often you'll see this. A walk to the pitcher who's batting in the 8th spot, and a hitter is in the 9th spot. And you see the defense. Santos thought about going to second base with the pitcher running, but then decided against it and got the sure out at first.
I don't think
had to play.
I don't think he had a grip in the ball. I think he had to wait.
Agreed.
Now back to the top of the order for Brendan Ryan. Well, Ralph, you talked about that stiff upper leg. If you didn't have that stiff upper leg, what would happen to you at the plate?
Well, you would break down, your knee would collapse, and you would lower your body and get beneath the ball when you swing.
Uppercut?
Well, listen, you're going to get in trouble with Keith. He says you don't swing, you swing level. You don't swing level. You swing on the plane of the baseball.
You're fine. Keith's not here.
Well, he might have he records everything that's happening. Nothing gets by him. But I'll tell you the philosophy of hitting that I like, and that's Stan Musial's philosophy, one of the greatest hitters of all time, and certainly not given the credit for being almost as good. Maybe he was as good as Ted Williams. Yeah. I'll tell you, he had a great philosophy. He said, you want to hit a ground ball, you hit the top of the ball. You want to hit a line drive, you hit the center of the ball. If you want to hit a fly ball or a home run, you hit the bottom of the ball. That's how simple the game is, as Sam Musial calls it.
Simple, Ralph. You're a Hall of Famer.
Why don't you tell me that in the 80s, Ralph? My theory was, if you want to hit the ball, swing. Just never happened.
Well, you believe in the theory about swinging hard in case you hit it.
Yeah, that's right. That was me.
Carpenter with little speed, if any, leading off second. 2-1 to Brendan Ryan, who's been quite a pain for these Mets in this series so far. Santana battling now. It's 2-2 to Ryan, who's 0 for 2 today. Schumacher's had a good day so far. A single, a walk, a run scored, and then of course after him it's Pujols. Santana hoping to end the inning long before that. Carpenter not only pitching well, he's been on base both times. 2-2 from Johan.
Stan lost a year in 1945 to military service, Ralph, but 331 batting average, 3,630 hits, 725 doubles, 177 triples, 475 round trippers with 1,599 RBIs. It's just,
well, the stats prove the point right there pretty well. But he was not only one of the great hitters of our time, he was certainly one of the best guys.
Castillo puts away Ryan as Carpenter advances a third, 2 away. And that'll bring up Schumacher. This instance happened last inning with 2 on. Schumacher came up and Santana walked him to load the bases for Pujols. So trying to avoid facing Albert with anyone on base in this instance.
Well, the one thing about pitching to Pujols, if you have to do that, you're taking chances because the odds are going to be he's going to come through. He's one of the great hitters, and put him up there with all the modern type day players. And he has a great approach to hitting and with good power.
Santana starts away to Schumacher. You saw the defense there that's really playing Schumacher to go the other way.
Playing them the other way, and also Martinez in center field, you can see, is playing very shallow.
a strike. Cardinals have already left 6 on base in this game.
Ralph, when you're on a team with a player that is so much better than everyone else, Pujols on this Cardinal team, if you're the hitter, Schumacher, are you taking a few pitches in case the pitcher's out of the strike zone?
Well, certainly, if you want to get your best people at the plate with the men on base, and the name of the game is how many RBIs do you have? It's not batting average, it's not anything else. How many runs do you drive, and what kind of runs do you drive in?
Yeah.
Driving in the winning run is the ultimate in everything in baseball.
Focus for Johan. Schumacher, tough out though. Well, how about this? When you were on deck and you saw a potential RBI situation, you see the batter before you. Would you get a little ticked if he wasn't patient enough at the plate, just trying to get on base any way he could?
I wouldn't get impatient. I would say that's the way the game is played, and that's the kind of player he is. But you certainly want a guy to think about winning. Good pitch there.
93-mile-an-hour fastball, and Santana paints the corner. Good-looking pitch, good-looking inning. Mets trying to get on the board when we come back. O'clock. Miracle in New York. It's a story of the 69 Mets. And Tim Russert, there you see him. He is the narrator of this documentary. And I have to say, I haven't seen it yet. I'm really looking forward to seeing it. Some great footage, some great stories. That's at 9 tonight on SNY. Gorgeous day here today at Citi Field. Glad to have you along. Ron Darling, Ralph Kiner. I'm Kevin Burkhardt filling in for Gary Cohen. Tim Robbins, what did I say? Did I call him something else?
I don't know, but Tim Robbins went for his 11th birthday to Game 5 of that series. Great actor, great writer. Shawshank Redemption, I mean, that's on every guy's top 5.
Bull Durham.
Bull Durham, yeah.
I mean, you know, there you go. I talked to him opening day. It was a lot of fun catching up with Tim, so looking forward to seeing that tonight. Castillo leads it off with an opposite field base hit.
There goes a no-hitter.
Sure fault, Ralph.
We jinxed him again.
All you had to do was bring the hitter into the booth.
Well, trying to go in, and that ball caught a little bit of the plate. Of course, Khalil Green, the third baseman, had to be in. Nice swing by Castillo. No chance for Green to react. Watch this. Oh, by you.
One thing about no-hitters, and don't talk about them, is the fact that we felt, and I mean, Lindsey Nelson, Bob Murphy, and I, that we should talk about no-hitters on the air because the people that watch the game don't know if you don't talk about it.
That's right.
Well, did you wait till a certain inning to bring it up, Ralph?
We waited a while, yeah, because it's, you know, they're so unusual to have, and you waited maybe till the 6th inning, whatever. And then you got to alert the crowd because now you have a chance. And I have to get a few outs.
Right, patient, and he watches the two breaking balls and see that fastball go outside. So that's trying to get something going against Carpenter, who's been super sharp early on in this one. Been a strike machine so far. 28 strikes out of 36 pitches.
Well, he is a pitcher that pitches the first strike, as Tom Seaver would say, according to Keith Hernandez. The first pitch is the important pitch to get a strike, get it over the plate. Total of 128 times this year. He has unbelievable control of his pitch. His curveball, well, you want to go back a few years, Sal Maglie to a curveball like he does.
You know, I asked Jerry before the game, when you're facing a pitcher that's this good, are you more tempted to be more aggressive, hit and run, steal? He said he likes to sniff out early in the game if the pitcher has his best stuff. Well, if he's sniffing right now, Carpenter has his best stuff, and sometimes you got to do odd things to try to score against a pitcher like this. Very difficult to put 3, 4, 5 hits together.
No question about that. That's a way to play the game, and it's a real good way to play. The hit-run play becomes very effective. The only problem you got to have a batter that's going to at least protect the plate. The other night against St. Louis, they put the hit and run on, and the pitcher threw a ball that was unhittable. And Santana was it Santana? I forget. It was
Hernandez.
Hernandez. And they got down to second. He couldn't put the bat on the ball. It was just he got unlucky. That's all. He had the right pitch, the right pitcher. Pitcher got the ball in the strike zone most of the time. Very important to pick the right guy.
Well, Jerry said we have to find the counts to start the runners and to stay out of the double play, because these Cardinal pitchers, they have such good sink. You hit a lot of ground balls.
As opposed in the second game of the series.
Right. Hanging in against Carpenter. Castillo has 7 steals, been caught 3 times. We keep an eye on him on first base.
Well, the problem you have is that Carpenter does everything well. He holds runners well. You've got a cannon behind the plate in Molina.
Now that's the thing. Molina, it's thrown out 7 of 20. That's 35%, and only 20 steal because they don't even bother. He's that good. Again, a 2-2. Carpenter gets a glove on it. Could help. No play. Carpenter's piece of the glove saved the Mets, and they've got runners at first and second with nobody out.
That's got to be a base hit, and certainly a break for the Mets, because it was a potential double play.
Well, this is a flat-out double play. If you see some pitchers have the wherewithal to let that ball go, but of course your reaction first is to make the play. That ball would have been a 2-hopper to Thurston and an easy double play. Turns into a Mets rally now with no outs at first and second.
Ryan Church at the big game last night. Couple of RBIs, 3 hits. He's got 18 RBIs, 2 home runs on the year. Certainly a big spot for him here. Mets trying to break through against Carpenter.
Well, the last time that the batter had a chance to go to left field, it was in yesterday's ball game. 3 base hits to left field. And he went to bed with Howard Johnson. Maybe he got to stay in Howard Johnson's room.
Brian Church must have been one of those kids when he was young that $1 for an egg, right?
Yeah. See the numbers on Church. He's actually had a good homestand. 368 coming into this one with 4 RBIs, 3 doubles. Series against the Rays and here against the Cardinals in those 6 games. Broken bat. Tough play, though. Pujols tries for second, and he gets right. Nice stop by Albert Pujols there to get 1 on that play.
Pujols, a Golden Glove first baseman, and does get the glove on the ball and gets to second base with the throw and plenty of time as the Mets now have runners at first and third.
How about the range by Pujols there? What was that? 5, 6, 7 steps to get to that baseball?
It's pretty impressive. And a little luck for the Mets. They get Carpenter, get the glove on the ball, you get a broken bat, and it could have been over if those balls were perfect there. So here is Fernando Tatis, who finally broke out last night with a couple of big RBIs. You look at him, he's come to bat in a potential double play situation 16 times since the end of May. and he's hit into 9 double plays, including 5 of the last 6 chances. That according to Elias. Here with 1 out, certainly that possibility in play. He's 0 for 1 today. That's to take a sac fly at this point. And that should do it. You'd think. No, it's going to fall in. Castillo held at first. He'll come on in to score. It's an RBI single for Fernando Tatis. And the Mets have tied the Cardinals at 1.
Well, I tell you, Ludwig might want to have this play over. He was so busy making the deep that he didn't make the catch.
Might have caught the ball if he kept on coming in on that ball. And the one thing about Tatis is that he has been taking a longer swing at the ball, and when you hit to the opposite field, you have a shorter swing if you stay on the ball and go to right field when you're a right-hand batter. And right there, he got the base hit that drove in the tying run.
What a load off for Tatis with the 3 RBIs last night. Comes up with a big hit there, and the Mets have tied the game. Fernando Martinez now ahead 1-0.
Some awkward defense here by the Cardinals. The misplay by Carpenter, although can't call it a misplay, trying to go for it. And Ludwig there, I think, was so into making that fake that the ball hung up there a long time. I think he could have made that play. He's got 4 assists this year, so he would have had to play at home plate.
You talked about, Ronnie, Fernando Martinez being, a little over aggressive, trying to do too much. How in the world do you calm yourself down in this spot then?
Well, it's hard. It's hard, but this is where you prove to the organization, your teammates, your manager, that you're ready to stay here. This is his chance to stay up as a 20-year-old. So at some point, you have to have production.
One thing about him, and so far we've seen this since he has been up here, and he went back down, came right back up, is that he grinds it out pretty well. He stays up there, and he doesn't pull off the ball. Stays on the ball well and keeps that front foot right in a good position to get a good chance to hit the ball. And he looks like he can be a good player.
I think you're right, Ralph. And the one thing I like about him, he hasn't showed a lot of frustration. Even though he's gone, he's only hitting a little over $1.50. He is professional about it, gets his glove, goes out there.
A little tapper. Carpenter, another slow play. Has to go to first. Runners advance on the out. So now the Mets with a base hit and scored 2. It'll be up to Nick Evans.
That being said, Ralph, the thing about being up in the big leagues is that you can do everything you want to do right, but at some point you got to produce, and so far that has not been the case for Fernando.
The one thing about being a good major league ball player is that you go from being the star in your hometown in high school and maybe college, and then you go into minor league ball, you find out there are other guys that are stars, and then you go to the major leagues and you find out there are a lot of other guys that are major league stars, and you have to battle away and stay with them. And you got to keep that confidence no matter what.
Nick Evans now the batter takes inside. And Ralph, he's also the star of the organization. I mean, he signed a huge deal when he was 16 years old. So he's got that weight on his shoulders, I guess, so to speak, too.
Which is good. I mean, he's got to find out how tough it is to play up here in the major leagues. And so far, he's kept his composure, kept his attitude good, and he has good talent.
Evans the other way, and it gets by Ludwig. Church scores, Tatis scores, Evans going for 2. It's a 2-run double for Nick Evans, and the Mets have taken the lead.
Well, here's a guy that probably could have made the team out of spring training. He went down to Buffalo and started 7 for 75. He got it going in the lower minor leagues, and then comes up here, and Jerry Manuel finds some lightning in a bottle. A 2-run home run in last night's game, a 2-run double today.
And why they brought him up, you wonder why. He was hitting 100 in the minor leagues. He played 50 games with the Mets last year and didn't do badly. He had a fairly good average. He had 2 home runs. Right now he's contributed to this ball game and the one he played in yesterday.
Pitch differential from ILTV. That ball is up about 6 inches to a foot. And what you like about that, not trying to pull the baseball going the other way. Fine hitting from Nick Evans.
Santos took a curveball for strike one. This one to Ryan, who was deep in the hole. Long throw in time into the inning, but the Mets take the lead. Couple of big hits, and they needed it against Carpenter. Evans with the 2-run double, and there it is the other way. It's the Mets now in limited number of tickets for this weekend Subway Series games are available at Mets.com or by phone at 718-507-TIXX. Get your Subway Series tickets right now. Good inning for the Mets against Chris Carpenter. As now Johan Santana the beneficiary. They scored 3 times off Carpenter. Tatis an RBI single. Nick Evans a big opposite field 2-run double. And they're now in front of Carpenter and the Cards 3-1. And here's Albert Pujols. Strike one. Biggest out of the game was Santana getting Pujols with the bases loaded in the second inning to fly out to left field on a 93-mile-an-hour fastball.
You know, his stance at the plate is pretty far away from the plate. And he has to be able to hit the ball to right field, and he can do that. And he can hit home runs out of the ballpark with the ball they're using today. But this time, got him out to his first 2 chances.
That was that second inning where Pujols just missed. Big out. He was 1 and 2 ahead of Albert here.
Well, his first out was made in a 3-0 pitch, which he has a real chance to do well with.
Got him 1-2. And again, he jams him. Santana gets Pujols again, 1 away.
Well, again, he saved his best fastball for Pujols. Just beats him at 92 miles an hour. Pujols usually hits that ball more in front of the plate. That one got just a little in on him.
As did the pitch that he flied out with the bases loaded. Santana put a 93-mile-an-hour fastball on him and had the ball by him.
So now Ludwig, the batter, strike one. Well, you know, you were talking about Musial before and all of his greatness. Well, here's Pujols in what he's done in only 9 seasons. I mean, his numbers are staggering in 9 years. What he's been able to do: 345 home runs, well over 1,000 RBIs already, 358 doubles coming in. He's got a career batting average of 334. At this point, if you could think, where does he stand against Stan the Man?
He stands about even with him. I think he has more power than Stan, although Stan went to 40 home runs when he found out they get more money if he hit home runs than if he'd single. But that was one of the things that he learned to do.
Tatis came in initially, but had time to recover. 2 away. check back with our Aflac trivia question from before. It was the only two National League players with 1,400 hits and a 300 batting average during the 1980s. Gwynn? No. Keith. Oh, he's going to kill us for not getting that one. And Timmy Raines.
One of the unsung players in that decade was Tim Raines. Everyone talks about Andre Dawson as should be in the Hall of Fame. Well, some people feel that Tim Raines, who went through some battles off the field, was one of the most amazing leadoff hitters during that decade.
He was also a great stolen base runner. He had the best percentage in baseball for a long time. I don't know if he ended up career-wise, but the percentage of steals took out of stadium.
Meanwhile, guys, Santana, after the Mets put up that 3-spot, trying to do what you're supposed to, come back and get a quick inning.
Well, I did a good job of helping Raines. I gave up 19 hits to him in that decade. Of course, I helped Keith to an over. Never faced me.
You know, you had a question about Keith hitting 3 home runs in one game.
Was it 3 home runs or
grand slams, right?
No, he never hit that.
Three grand slams in a season.
In a season.
3 grand slams in a season.
He said 2 in September.
I think that was it. Well, I know he's tied with a couple of guys. Pujols in that mix. Molina, Church and Evans aren't going to find that one.
One of the things that's a real odd stat is the greatest home run hitter of any time, no matter what. If you knock out the steroids when they broke the records, Babe Ruth never hit 4 home runs in one game. He only hit 3 several times. But that's unusual. When you think of Babe Ruth, you think he would definitely have had 4 in one game.
I didn't know that. That is pretty amazing, Ralph. As Molina goes fishing and comes up empty. Santana shuts him down in the 5th from the Mets. Looking good. We're halfway home.
And now it's art film.
That means you're.
Yeah.
That's great. Great memories, Ralph. And look at the professionals. Just keep going. Lights are off. Keep going. Set falls down. Keep going.
Well, it did fall down one time.
No.
Yeah, one time, our first broadcast ever. Casey Snell was walking away, pulled the whole set down. I didn't know what to do. My first broadcast ever on TV. Other than being a guest. And it was my show, and I said to the AD, Ralph Robbins, I said, Ralph, if you hold those cue cards up, I'll get them to the next commercial.
Ludwig coming in hard, makes the catch.
That's what he should have done the last time.
He learned his lesson, I suppose.
Kevin, that kind of corner was the greatest thing as Ludwig makes his catch now, this time on the one in. it was great for players because there's a no-lose situation. One, you were only on it if you had a great game. So you got to talk about yourself, how good you were that day. And secondly, you'd get a crisp Benjamin, $100 bill. And that's when $100 meant something, Ralph. And
it sure did.
It was unbelievable.
And, of course, a great exposure of being in New York and our ratings on that show. Fantastic. I remember John Candelera came on. He said, when I was a kid growing up in Brooklyn, he said, I wanted to be in that show. That was my only ambition. And he deserved it. He was a great pitcher.
Yeah, he was. He was.
Bottom 5 is the Mets leading the Cards 3-1 as top of the order now. Alex Cora, who's 0 for 1, was hit by a pitch against Carpenter. Give you an idea how the Mets have made Carpenter work in that last inning. Thurston, ranging in the outfield, makes the play. Well, Carpenter coming into this game averages just over 13 pitches per inning, 13.1 pitches per inning. That's the lowest in Major League Baseball by a long shot. And the last inning, the Mets made him throw 23 pitches. He had only thrown 32 the first few innings of this game. So big difference last inning.
Oh, think about it. Most pitchers, when they have a bad inning, they throw 30 to 40 pitches. His bad inning is 23.
Right. And the way that inning went with the ball that he gloved that probably could have been a double play, the broken bat. Castillo, bases empty. Castillo got it going with a single that last inning the other way in that rally.
And don't forget how Carpenter came to St. Louis. He was with Toronto. Imagine that 1-2 punch, Halladay and Carpenter. But he had arm problems when he was with Toronto. And what happened is that the Cardinals signed him with those arm problems, taking a chance. What a great chance they took.
Yeah, it's worked out. Cardinal rebounds nicely. That's a nice little bib. You can enjoy those tacos. Check out Mets Blog, one of the most popular online sources for Mets info with ongoing fan discussions, opinion, game analysis, and exclusive player and coach interviews. Mets Blog featured on SNY.TV. It's your online home of all things New York sports. And the Mets leading the Cardinals 3-1. And Johan Santana has done really a fabulous job. Really struggled through the first couple innings, but got Pujols with the bases loaded, and since then has found his groove. He deals strike one to Rick Ankiel here in the sixth.
Well, the thing you love about Santana is that he's got the nice balance, and see how he has that stiff front leg and drives off the back.
And Keel puts a charge into one. Church was frozen, and it goes over his head. Church froze on that one, and it was just that time that allowed it to go over his head for a leadoff double for Ankiel.
A little hanging slider here, Ralph, from Santana.
Ankiel's had a real tough series, and of course he was a pitcher to start out his career and couldn't hit the ball over the plate. He's playing the outfield now and trying to make it as a hitter, and that's a pretty tough job.
Now that'll bring up Green, who hasn't done much this series after coming off the disabled list in Kansas City and hitting 3 home runs in that series over the weekend. He's 0 for 2. Off speed, gets him way out in front.
Well, see, this is just the bottom half from the waist down as you watch the footwork. Nice and slow, and then speeds it up at the end. And look at that stride. Like I said, that stride is the stride of a 6'4", 6'5" man, as he uses those strong legs to get that ball to the plate.
And he drives right into the area by the plate.
Right, keeps the runner at bay, and there's one away. Let's go to the studio now. It's a New York State Smokers Quick Line game break. Let's check in with Gary Apple. Thank you, GA. Here it's the Mets leading the Cards 3-1. St. Louis with the runner on second. As the pitcher, Chris Carpenter, will take his licks. So you see that with that score. Also, it's the Dodgers and White Sox scoreless in the third. Astros lead KC 2-1. That's in the bottom of the second.
You say Gary Apple's doing the show today, huh? On Thursday?
Good to see a little day game, little Gary Apple.
Well, he's one of the class acts of our SNY talent.
Pros pro. Carpenter now, who has ironically been on base twice with a single and a walk, hasn't scored either time. It's 11 straight strikes for Johan Santana. So he's in the groove. And of course, our Gary Cohen, who is a rare day off for him today, but well deserved. His twins Kira and Trevor graduating high school today. So Gary, hope you're having a wonderful day. And hope you're not watching us. Enjoy. He'll TiVo watch it later.
Absolutely.
He'll watch it later. But certainly congrats to Gary and the family. That's great. He'll be back tomorrow, so don't worry.
Carpenter came into this game as a poor hitter, and you might now classify him as a little bit of a poor hitter.
He goes the other way again. Ralph Church racing towards the line, and it's just foul. A little out of our sight there. Now that would have been on cue if he did that as you were saying.
Well, if he were a good hitter, it would have been fair.
Not much room for Church there between.
Carpenter hitting 0-7-1 coming into this ball game. Singled up a breaking ball on slider. His first time up, then walked his second.
Well, his heart is into hitting, but the rest of his body, Ralph, is really not into it.
That looked like me hitting out of the rough. With the same result, by the way. Ball going not exactly where I wanted to. 0-2 here. And Castillo will put him away. And Keel goes to third base, and that'll bring up Joe Thurston.
Well, maybe a break here for the Mets as Castillo imploring Santana to get this last out. Khalil Green, who came up with Ankiel on second base, wasn't able to advance him, and they would have gotten a run there, the Cardinals.
And what a difference that is in the ball game. If he'd advanced him, I would have scored a run.
Yep.
Although it would have put the infield in with the pitcher up. But one of the things about baseball is, why do you really think hitting a pitcher in eighth is a good idea?
Yeah, I don't, and I know what Tony's reasoning is.
He wants, he's a brilliant guy.
Yes, absolutely.
But he wants to show you why he's brilliant.
Oh, there you see La Russa, who, of course, made history over the weekend in Kansas City. He now has 2,501 wins. That is third all time. That is an awful lot of wins. Only Connie Mack and John McGraw in front. And the Cardinals, who were just 1 for 8 with runners in scoring position, come through. It's Joe Thurston. It's a line drive, RBI, and the Cardinals now within 1.
Well, Santana has tried to get Thurston out with sliders all day, and this is a fastball away. Nice hitting by Thurston. Line drive to center field. Thurston, who came up with the Dodgers organization, considered him one of the best and the brightest. His career has stalled a little bit, but has found some magic here in St. Louis.
That's a big 2-out hit for these Cardinals now as they go back to the top of the order, now within 1. And Ankiel got it started with a double that Church had to freeze on for a second. Not sure if he would have been able to catch it, but that split second ball went over his head.
You know what the great thing about La Russa is? I played for him for 5 seasons. He has a great way of managing people. In '92, the beginning of the year, Ralph, I was struggling and came up to me, and he used to call me the load. I don't know why. He said, "Well, what's going on?" I said, "Well, I got some things at home." He goes, "Well, as a human being, I really have some feelings for your plight. But as your manager, you need to start winning some games. Let's go." And he really put it in perspective that if you're a professional, it doesn't matter what's happening away from the field. You need to do your job.
Bunt attempt by Ryan. It goes foul. Well, Ralph, who'd you like at managers? You had Billy Meyer was your manager.
Well, Billy was a good manager. He came out of the Yankee organization, and he managed and was the manager of the year in 1948. I had my first manager was Frank Frisch, who was a tough guy. In fact, he was about as tough as anybody I saw in the game. My second manager was Billy Herman, who played cards better than he managed. And my third manager was, let's see, well, I had some guys that interim managers, but not steady. I had Al Lopez, who was a great manager, no doubt about it. A very smart man.
Santana will just take it himself. Why not? So Johan limits the damage, but the Cardinals make it a little closer. Mets lead is now 1 with the big guns coming up when we return. Shine face off on all the day's hottest sports stories on Loudmouth, presented by Geico, weeknights at 6, only on SNY. And I just like seeing the promo because I like to see how many times Chris and Adam can just shrug their shoulders. It's enjoyable.
How about making up for its amplitude? I mean, is that like fantabulous or
ginormous?
That's right.
Hey, Johan at exactly 100 pitches, and you know, Ronnie, you have to say, for how this game started out for him, for his lack of control, struggling, he's been fantastic the last 4 innings. And despite that, bullpen is quiet, so it looks like they're going to try and send him out for inning number 7.
Well, he's really settled into a good rhythm, and you hate to take him out and go to the bullpen at any time. And of course, you got to like counting pitches. I don't, but somebody must like it.
Well, it's on the scoreboard now, Ralph. So it's become the thing to do. David Wright leads it off against Chris Carpenter.
I'm a Nolan Ryan fan. He's against it, and whatever he says with his curveball, you got to go along with it.
Well, think about this for Santana. If the Mets had not been rained out in Pittsburgh, then they would have had an off day. And if they stayed in that 5-man rotation, Johan Santana would have got an extra day. That's not going to happen now with you guys going, and I say you guys, so I'm not making the trip, to Milwaukee and then that makeup game Thursday in Pittsburgh.
That's a really good point. And obviously, you know, I think in the staff, he's the one guy that really benefits from that extra day.
Absolutely.
So here's Wright in a 1-2 hole against Carpenter, who after a tough 4th righted himself with an 8-pitch 5th inning. Right, that hurt.
right there, right, way out in front of that changeup.
Well, Ralph, how do you assess what David's done this year? I haven't had a chance to ask you in the booth about him. He's obviously hitting the baseball. When the baseball is in play, he's been phenomenal. But, you know, guy's had 33, 30, 26, 27 home runs the last 4 years. He's got 4. Ground ball to Brendan Ryan. And he's really changed as a hitter. One away, how do you see it?
I don't see it the way a lot of people see it. I think this ballpark is not as big as they try to make it. It's 384 in left center field. That's very close. 378 in right center field. That's very close. And down the lines is normal. Center field is 408. 400 is that's the same distance it was at Shea. But everyone's saying it's so big. It's so big. The only thing that's bad about it for hitters is it's high. They got higher fences and it's tougher. But I think that what scares me is that he's got 90 strikeouts. And his worst he ever had in strikeouts wasn't even close to that, around 118. And he's got 90 on the way to having over 170. And that's too many.
1-1 to Ryan Church. You know, Ronnie, I guess I should have known. This is a guy, Ralph, you played in ballparks that were huge. I mean, this is nothing compared to some of the parks that you played in.
Well, Pittsburgh was 457 to center field, 360 on the line, and Polo Grounds 483 to center field. I mean, these are big parks. I mean, when they say this is a big park, yeah, it's big if you go to Philadelphia. Philadelphia's a bandwagon.
1-2 to Church, and he hangs in.
This is from a man who won 8 home run titles. 7 home run titles. And also had a park where it was so cavernous, they'd take the batting cage and just leave it in center field. I mean, that's how big the field was.
Well, Richie Ashburn would climb up the batting cage to make catches out in center field.
Fastball just missed.
You know, things, when time goes by, forget about the things that people did in the past, and I don't really like that because you talk about Stan Musial. Well, this guy was really a great hitter. I mean, they can't compare players today with him. Hard
shot,
fantastic.
Nice play, 1 away. Well, you know, this, and when you talk about too, there's so many different elements to compare. You know, when you're talking about equipment, when you're talking about the overall, you know, video use, training, just ballparks.
Well, listen, guys today can train 12 months a year.
Right.
A lot of guys
in that better shape than we were. There's no question about it.
A lot of guys in your day had to go work in the winter.
That's right.
Augment their income. When you retired, where were you on the home run list?
I was 6th in the home run list, and now I'm probably about 96. But that's the era of steroids.
Yeah.
I mean, it changed the whole game.
Tatis had a big hit for the Mets in that 4th inning rally as he takes a strike. He's 1 for 2.
I see where Sandberg is against Sosa being in the Hall of Fame, and I agree with him.
Yeah. No, you could have the same argument with. You don't want to lump. I don't want to lump everybody together. That's not fair. But you could have the same argument with a lot of people in this era, and I think it's going to be very interesting, Ralph, to see how people vote with these guys going forward.
I think they're not going to get in.
Thurston, nice running play, and the inning is over. 1-2-3 for Carpenter. Well, Ralph, always a pleasure to talk to you. I know it's certainly a pleasure for me to be here today and have you on. Thank Baseball on SNY. It's brought to you by Wise. Hey, Mets fans, want to help break a world record? Get a ticket to the July 10th Mets game for the Wise Big City Crunch. Guessing that involves eating a lot of potato chips, but just a guess. As we welcome you back to Citi Field, top 7, and despite having thrown 100 pitches, Johan Santana stays in the game, and he will face 2, 3, and 4 in the order. Schumacher to lead it off for the Cards.
Well, the Mets have Sean Green throwing, and they have Feliciano throwing also. Do you think you might see Santana get Schumacher, the left-handed hitter, and Green will come in to face Pujols? It'd be very interesting in this one-run game.
I would say yes, but he's pitched Pujols really well today. Yeah. That would be my only argument to that. And he jams Schumacher here. 1 down. So Johan will face the Machine. That's his new nickname now after doing a commercial on television about it.
I saw it. That's very good. Well, in the first inning, they got him out on a 3-0 pitch that was right down the middle, popped up to Cora. Then the biggest at bat, bases loaded. Another pitch that was just missed, just got inside enough to Pujols. And then again, putting the ball in the air, keeping the ball outside just enough.
Starts him off with a fastball, which like the last time he got him out.
There we go. Pop up to Alex again.
So he's done a nice job against Pujols today, hoping to keep it the same way with the Mets up by 1. Funny story. Derek Gould, who covers the Cardinals for the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, had on his Twitter feed before. You'd appreciate this, Ronnie. That Pujols is such a nice guy, good to the fans. As Cora can't make the play, goes under the glove of Alex Cora, and Albert Pujols gets on base for St. Louis. Probably a single for Albert, I would think.
Oh, absolutely. Playing way in the hole, had a long way to go, but even Alex will tell you that that's a play that he thinks he should make. Just has so much topspin on his baseball that it just, I think, beat Alex to the spot.
Yeah, I think it did too. Johan, a little disappointed. Anyway, finishing the story, a kid was asking Albert for his autograph beforehand. Didn't have anything. No hat, no glove, no paper. Pujols signed his forehead with a Sharpie. So somewhere around the stadium, there's a kid walking around with a Pujols signature on his head.
Well, who's going to say anything to Albert?
No one. He can do as he pleases. Big cut by Ludwig and a miss. Ryan today is 0 for 2. He had that catcher's interference in the first inning, which actually allowed the Cardinals to get on the board and score. Pujols does have 9 stolen bases, so he is a threat. There's a strike. Now, last few innings, Santana's location has gotten so much better.
Well, think about it. That catcher's interference along with the first at bat means that he's late on the fastball. So Santana has attacked him with inside fastball. Another great read of the hitter.
Now he's ahead 0-2. Church and Castillo ranging. This is all Ryan Church. 2 outs.
By the way, Kevin, your first game, and you've introduced Twitter to the broadcast. Very nice.
Yeah, sorry about that. I'm bringing my world into this thing a little bit, I guess.
Everyone needs a little tweet now and then, Kev.
Molina now will try to do his thing. He's got an RBI single, 2 for 3 in this one. And Santana trying to work 7. A very hard work, 108 pitches for Johan Santana. Scoreboard's 1 ahead of the proper count. That's 109. It's actually 108 for Johan now. We told you about Albert with the speed. He does have 9 steals. No one's stolen a base against Santana this year, and Santos has been great throwing guys out. Let's see if that cat and mouse game plays out now as Evans holds. It's about the last thing you'd think he'd be able to do, but he pretty much does everything. That's the thing, and he's faster than you think for a big guy. Martinez makes the catch. Oh, what a play by Fernando. And that'll do it for the 7th. Well, he's not getting it done at bat, but the leather coming through, and it gets Santana through the 7th with the Mets up by 1. Their mind, Mike Pelfrey on the mound here at Citi Field against the Yanks. CC Sabathia for the Bronx Bombers. Coverage begins live from Citi Field tomorrow at 6. A special 1-hour pregame only on SNY. What a finish to the top of the 7th inning.
Well, outstanding job by Santana to stay in that game. Not with his best stuff, but he found it late.
And isn't it fitting, Ronnie, after you make a fantastic play to end the inning, you lead off the inning. And Fernando Martinez takes a curveball, strike 1 from Chris Carpenter.
Well, kudos to Martinez. Like you said, Kevin has struggled with the bat, but he has not taken that out to the field. A fantastic play.
And how about this evidence from Johan, just to tell you how we've been talking about how he recovered. 57 pitches the first 3 innings, 53 the last 4 innings.
Wow, very nice. Beautiful. Plays it right off to the side, cushions his body so he doesn't lose the ball when he hits the ground.
And he flies out here, first out in the 7th.
And watch this reaction from Johan. Yeah. Fired up.
How can you not be, right?
And Carpenter, same old for him with these Cardinals. He's 5-1, but they are scoring just a bit over 3 runs per game. Not very good. Same as Santana, really, this season.
Strike 1 to Nick Evans. So Santana will be through with his 110 pitches of work. Little cue shots. Poole will take care of it. And there's 2 away. Evans, of course, had the big hit in this game for the Mets, though. A 2-out, 2-run double in the 4th inning. That put the Mets in front. Other than that inning, Carpenter's been simply phenomenal. His breaking ball has been sharp all day long. And we're in the 7th inning. Ronnie, he's got 79 pitches.
Yeah, well, this is how he rolls, man. I mean, that was an unfortunate kind of inning for him. The ball was not hit hard until the Evans double. But, you know, this is how the Mets are going to win ball games.
Ludwig. And that's an easy inning for Chris Carpenter there. We are through 7 at Citi Field. Johan now will sit and watch, see if the bullpen can hold down the 4th. Eighth inning here at Citi Field. Johan Santana will now hand it over to the bullpen, and what a great recovery from him. The Mets try to hold on and win a series here from the Cardinals.
That's something you see all the time because he was just on the mound. So he has all that energy still wrapped up inside of him. So he is holding court over there in the dugout. But Pedro Feliciano, who, remember, he pitched 6 days in a row, was given some time off, still talking to Santana, has had the first 3 games off in the series, back to pitch in this 4th game.
Yeah, Pedro loves the pitch, but finally started to look human. I mean, 6 days in a row will do that. But you know, I saw him the other day, and he's like, no, I want to pitch. Yeah. He didn't really want the days off, but you'd have to think it was a good thing. And you know what? We'll find out. We'll see how he responds here. And we are going to get a pinch hitter for the Cardinals. Ankiel is going to come out of the ball game. Tyler Green will come on in.
Jason LaRue, the catcher, coming in from the bullpen. They might use him as a pinch hitter at some point. Kind of holding up action, Jason. Let's go, brother.
Little leisurely jog. All right, so here's Tyler Green. Will get a pinch hitting chance for Ankiel now. Feliciano will face the righty. Strike 1.
Well, in the first game of this series, Tyler Green came in and had a pinch hit single Monday night, singled in his only at bat.
Big cut and a miss there. So Feliciano ahead of Green. Pedro's retired 34 of the 41st batters he has faced this year, and really overall in the season he's been flat out phenomenal in just about every aspect. Again, this is a long rest for him. The Mets try to nurse a 1-1 lead. Get it to K-Rod in the 9th.
Well, I think the reinvention of Pedro is one of the great stories for this Mets team. Despite coming up short of the last couple of seasons, of course, that 06 memory of not getting through the Cardinals, but boy, he has become a mainstay in the bullpen for the Mets after changing his delivery.
2-2 to Green on the way. This one's fisted into shallow center. It drops in. So the Cardinals have a leadoff runner here in the 8th inning. Time now for a New York State Smokers Quit Line game break. Let's go to Gary Apple for the update. All right, Garrett, thanks. Tyler Green leads off the inning with a hit, and now the other Green, Khalil Green. And Feliciano, this will be his batter here. Jerry's doesn't look like he's going to be making a move. Dennis Reyes warming up in the pen, and Chris Carpenter is on deck. And you wonder, can't see how that will stay the case, but we'll see. As a bunt attempt by Green, it's a great one. Look out, Feliciano in time to get the out. But a good bunt by Khalil Green.
Well, this was one. You got it. No, you take it. And Feliciano made the adjustment.
Castillo's hurt here, Ronnie.
Boy, it looks like maybe a leg injury, huh?
He kind of, after that one, it was kind of an awkward position catching that throw, kind of bent down to try and stretch. Maybe a cramp. It is a lot warmer today than it's been. Let's see.
Sometimes you hit that bag a little awkward. Oh, see it? Khalil Green kicked his back foot, so it's really maybe like just a bruise there on his foot for Castillo. Check it out. See how he kicks that back foot? Watch it. Almost steps on his foot.
On it. So the Cardinals will send up a pinch hitter for Chris Carpenter. It's Jason LaRue, the backup catcher, who will do the deed. And the tying run on second base now for the Cards. So big spot for Pedro Feliciano here. Tries to keep the Mets in front and preserve what would be victory number 9, which would tie the NL lead for Johan Santana, but plenty of work to do first.
when you see the defense now for the Mets, not a great arm in left field, Tatis more of an infield arm, a solid arm in center field in Martinez, and of course in right field an outstanding arm with 2 assists in Ryan Church.
Lefties against Feliciano batting 155, righties 263, so it's a world of difference. Cue shot that Daniel Murphy is going to make the play on. Murphy just came into the ball game and a double switch, and he makes that easy play.
Well, that little cutter, oh, I'm sorry, I'll take that back. That was more of slider from Pedro Feliciano. Jams Jason LaRue. And ever ready Murph, ready to throw that ball to second base.
And Murphy came in the double switch because he would lead off the bottom of the inning where the pitcher bats. So the pitcher will go in the 7th spot where Nick Evans was hitting tonight. So now the tie run on second for the Cards, and Joe Thurston is the hitter. Thurston delivered his last time up with 2 outs and a runner in scoring position with an RBI single against Johan Santana, making it a 1-run game.
You see the defense. Martinez playing the pull in center field, straight up in the infield, right a little bit in at third base. Deep in right field is Church.
Back to the mound. Pedro Feliciano, well rested, good results. As the Mets get through the 8th, Murph, Core, and Castillo coming up. Rasmus. New York Mets baseball on SNY, brought to you by IOTV. Get the best in HD free with IOTV. By Geico. City. By Acela. And by Toyota. As we head to the bottom of the 8th, new pitcher, it's Dennis Reyes for the Cards.
That's some of his best seasons, of course, with the Minnesota Twins. 36 games, only 19 2/3 innings for this lefty specialist. Great job by Johan Santana. Great job by Chris Carpenter. Sometimes we sell these games as a great pitcher's duel. Doesn't always work out that way. Both pitchers just excellent this afternoon.
And we had Tyler Green pinch hitting for Rick Ankiel, so Colby Rasmus, the defensive replacement, comes in the outfield now for the Cards. In center field is Daniel Murphy, who was part of a double switch in the last inning, will lead it off, his first at bat. Batting in the 9 hole for the pitcher spot. Now Murph, after really getting into a groove, has had the last couple games off. He came in for Nick Evans yesterday and did have a sacrifice fly, so he'll get it at least an at bat here in this game. And after the way, things started this year defensively for Murphy, I guess it's a good thing for him that he's actually coming into the game as a defensive replacement.
Well, he's much more in tune at first base. I know he made an error in the first game of the series. Or sorry, the second game of this series. That might have cost Livan Hernandez, but been much better at first base, and his hitting's come along too.
And he goes the other way and drops one in front of Schumacher. So Mets looking for a couple of tack-on runs. It's a good way to start it with a leadoff single by Murph.
Well, leadoff single by Murph, and Jerry Manuel absolutely will play this very conservative and close to the vest. Cora will be bunting in this situation off the left-hander, trying to get Murphy to second in scoring position. Defense very shallow in the outfield. The defense is shortened up at short and second base. Of course, the throw over whenever there's a bunting situation by Reyes as Khalil Green starts to come closer and closer from third base.
Cardinals, remember the other night, had a lot of motion. And this one's foul on a wheel play, so much so that Cora decided to take off the bunt himself and swing away and got a base hit out of it. Drove in a run.
He's not going to do that here, but it's very interesting. Fernando Martinez was up in a bunt situation the other night. Cora went up to Martinez and said, listen, bunt the ball towards first base. That's where Reyes screwed up the play, did not make the play. And the reason was because Cora told him Reyes falls off to the third base side. It's very hard for him to get to first base.
We'll watch the D. Just checked on Murph. Well, the Mets just trying to win a series here, which would be a huge boost to their ego with everything that's gone on, including Beltran on the DL at the beginning of this series. They lost the series to Tampa, to Baltimore, to the Yankees, to Philly. Did win a series against Washington, but lost to Pittsburgh before that. So they just need to get one in the bag and move forward. And doing so today, if they can, against, by the way, the first place team in the NL Central.
Well, Mr. Cora, of course, has said it out loud. Everyone says, let's just, stay even until the break. But what does that mean? He said, let's start winning series. That's how you play baseball. I don't know anything about trying to stay close. Nice attitude.
Cora patient as that one goes high. So Chris Carpenter with just a fantastic day. 82 pitches, 7 innings, 3 runs on 4 hits. Just the 1 inning for Carpenter. 5 strikeouts, no walks. And I mean, his stuff was phenomenal. That's got to him 1 inning, and so far that's been enough. Pujols charging in from first, and now in a clear bunt situation, Reyes is having trouble throwing strikes.
There's Francisco Rodriguez in the pen for the Mets. I think Molina right there is just telling Reyes, hey, listen, I know you're throwing over to first base. I know they're telling the Roosters, telling you to throw over to first base. But we need to spend a lot of attention here on the hitter. So hit the glove, throw me a strike.
Don't want to walk a guy when he's trying to sacrifice himself, that's for sure.
Trying to give you an out.
32-year-old Dennis Reyes now. Cora can't get it down.
Boy, that looked like ball 4. Very unusual that you see Alex wasn't able to take that bat away.
Keep the play on.
You very rarely see, you'll see it with pitchers with 2 strikes bunting. Very rarely see it with hitters. And also for his career, Alex Cora hits better against left-handed pitching than he does against right-handed pitching, albeit in a lot less at-bats.
You also put Murph in motion if you choose. Doesn't do that. Cora swings away. Erasmus for the first out. So that doesn't work out for the Mets, despite Cora having a 3-1 advantage in the count there. And now Castillo will come to the plate. And Castillo turns around and bats from his better side, the right-handed side, where he has been a much bigger factor this year. And also, this is his power side. But do you try it again? Do you bunt with one out here and try and set it up for Wright, who's obviously been scorching?
No, he will swing, and he is a Jekyll and Hyde type of hitter. From the left side, very patient. From the right side, loves to be aggressive and swing, as we see Molina giving the signs. Fastball away.
Castillo ignited the Mets rally back in the fourth when they scored their only runs, 3 against Chris Carpenter with a leadoff single. He would score on Tatis's single, and then Nick Evans with a big 2-run, 2-out double. The difference so far in this game today.
This is a count where I think you're going to get a fastball from Reyes. Castillo knows that. This is where you'll see him right-handed sometimes be a little more aggressive.
Takes that one. David's been a force with the runners in scoring position this year. See if Castillo can at least do that with Murphy on first. And K-Rod getting ready to work the ninth. And Castillo will pull the ball more from the right-handed side, but even so, they have him shaded to go the other way in the outfield.
Erasmus in center field is unusually shallow. That is a place you would play. As you can see, Rasmus right there. That's a place you can play when he is batting left-handed. Right-handed, little dicier proposition.
Yeah, he can pull it right-handed. He's being patient in this at bat, and now he's behind 1-2. Keeps it in front to jog it off a little bit here.
He's so good, Molina. I mean, at such a young age, his ability to block the ball in the dirt, ability to call a game. He's an offensive threat, and that's why you lead the All-Star voting as he does.
If he getting a little bit bigger lead now. Castillo doing what he does best, working the count. Great day, and that has drawn out the biggest crowd of the season here at Citi Field. 41,221 in attendance today for what has been a really good ball game.
Well, Jerry Mano's got a chance to be aggressive here, Kevin. Can run on 1 out and 3-2 count here, and he does.
There goes Murph. Hit hard, but sliced foul. Good call, Ronnie.
I like that play. Castillo, not a big strikeout threat. You know you're going to get a fastball from Reyes. Murphy's just got to be very careful on 2 things. Once he gets a pretty good jump there, once the leg crosses past the knee, he's got to be careful with Reyes giving him the good move. And if somehow, some way, Castillo strikes out, he's going to have to watch out with that Molina's arm.
Castillo's second best in the National League. He only strikes out 1 every 15.5 times at the plate. He goes again, does Murphy inside, ball 4. And the patience of Castillo pays off. 2 on the pond for David Wright. And here comes Tony La Russa. There is no way on earth he's going to let a left-hander face David Wright. Lincoln Mercury calling the bullpen here as Tony La Russa will get Reyes out of there. You just can't let a lefty face David Wright. It's impossible. And so Cardinals go to the pen. Big spot for the Mets, trying to add on runs with Wright at the plate. Tony La Russa brings in the right-hander to face David Wright.
Well, had an outstanding rookie season last year. A workhorse with 68 games pitched. He's a local kid in Missouri, graduating from Hazelwood West High School.
And he takes for strike one. Just turned 25 years old, did Kyle McClellan. David Wright, with runners in scoring position this year in less than 2 outs, is batting .442 with 22 RBIs. This would be a big add-on run if the Mets can get it. But he's in an 0-2 hole quickly. Castillo, who a nice patient walk on first. Murphy on second after a leadoff single here in the 8th. Church looming on deck. And Wright working the count now. La Russa made that move, taking Reyes out because David hits .481 against left-handers, which is just absurd. Largest crowd of the season on hand here at Citi Field. And Wright now gets it to 3-2.
I think he'll go back to that fastball away that he got that early 0-2 count on David. Let's see where he gets. Looks like fastball in.
See if the runners go. They do not. Just missed outside. Ball 4. Bases loaded. Was that your reaction as a pitcher or as a manager?
Well, I think, yeah, exactly. I was sighing on the air there. I apologize to people at home because his best pitch is his sinker ball. He decided to come with his second best pitch on that 3-2 when he needed a double play.
Yeah.
Not a good pitch selection.
Tony La Russa, who doesn't leave pitchers in too long, especially after they perform like that, may have the cane out for the quick hook. And he does. Kyle McClellan leaving. Pitching change for the Cards. We'll be back.
And that might be probably the case here as he faces the left-hander Church from Fernando Tatis, the right-hander on deck.
And Miller was in last night's game and faced Church and got him to ground out to shortstop. So he has faced him before in this series. And to see if the Mets can get an additional run here, leading 3-2 in the 8th. Game that Santana started and is in line to win, to tie the National League high with 9 wins if they can hold on.
Well, the Mets are batting just a smidge over 300 with the bases loaded and less than 2 outs. Key at bat for Church here. Has to make contact. has to get the ball in the air if he can. Should look away from Miller. Should not get a lot of pitches on the inside part of the plate.
He is 0 for 3 with the bases loaded with 2 RBIs. Does have 1 sac fly in those situations.
So defensively, Ryan really shading up the middle at shortstop.
And he takes low, ball 1. Well, we saw McClellan get ahead of right and then walk in. We saw Castillo get ahead of Reyes and then eventually be walked. And that's being patient here. Church laying off that breaker. He's in a good spot.
Defense here. Schumacher in left field, good arm. Rasmus, great arm. Ludwig in right, 4 assists this season.
The infield's kind of halfway. Boy, that looked like a strike. Church laid off, and it's 3-0. Chris Carpenter threw 18 balls in 7 innings of work. These Cardinal relievers have 15 balls in this inning.
Key for any hitter in this situation is not to try to get too big as Tatis looms on deck. A base hit is what you need here.
3-1 to Church.
Good pitch from Miller there. Is able to get that ball inside. Ryan looking on the outer half against Miller.
Church didn't look like he was sure whether he wanted to commit to that breaking ball or not.
Well, that's the first one he's seen. A little slider there from Trevor Miller. Well placed down and away. And had Ryan out front.
Probably ball 4. Tough to lay off, though. And he got him with a fastball upstairs and a huge out for the Cardinals as Ryan Church down on strikes.
Well, slider away and down, and this fastball just explodes up in the strike zone. And I'm running out of ink here, Kevin.
Get the different colored highlighters for Keith. New reliever for the Cardinals. Tell you doesn't leave him in long, does he? Jason Mott coming on, try and close out the inning for the Well, the former Iona catcher, Jason Mott, on to try and get the Cardinals out of a huge jam.
Well, you see his numbers. He started the season as the closer for Tony La Russa's Cardinals, but kind of imploded, and that job went to Ryan Franklin, and now has done a nice job in the 8th inning.
Facing Fernando Tatis with the bases loaded. A huge out by Trevor Miller to strike out Ryan Church with the bases loaded. The Mets is looking for an insurance run here. And now it's Tatis, who had a big game yesterday, and Tatis had a big hit today with an RBI single.
We'll see the defense against Tatis. Pretty deep except for Rasmus in center field. Straight up in the infield.
Fastball right by him, and Mott throws hard. 97. That's hard.
I heard that pitch, Kevin. That was pretty fast.
He can throw 100. He had a quick appearance in the series opener, did Mott. He faced Luis Castillo, allowed a single, and that was it. But he's got Tatis in an 0-2 hole here. Just stay alive. Man, he is bringing it.
Another 97-mile-an-hour fastball away, but right middle. Good pitch there to hit for Fernando.
Well, Fernando Tatis has a grand slam this year. He's got 7 for his career. The Mets will take a broken bat signal at this point.
I mean, Fernando's been behind both of those fastballs, all 3 of those fastballs, to tell you the truth. So you would think that Mott will stay with that pitch.
Just held up. Mott's got a little Ricky Vaughn going for him in Major League. He's got the glasses on, throws 100. Doesn't have the funky hair though. And pops him up right side. Is this going to stay in play? It will. And the Mets waste a golden opportunity. Trevor Miller and Jason Mott keep the Mets from scoring. It's a 1-run lead for K-Rod to protect. For the Mets.
Well, he's been almost perfect this entire season. And think about it this way, Kevin. All games are big. Some games are bigger. And this is one of those games because you can win a series. You can get some momentum going against the Yankees who are coming in town. And as Jerry said, you take another game off the schedule, getting closer and closer to when your troops get back.
No doubt. So Chris Duncan, the pinch hitter for the Cardinals here, trying to go long ball and tie this game up, but he takes a breaking ball for strike 1. Duncan, of course, with good pop. Schumacher on deck, just trying to take a chance here. and go deep off K-Rod. 3-2 Mets in the ninth. And he's ahead 0-2 in a hurry.
Well, he wants to stay away from the fastball with Duncan. Slider to start or slurve, and then back here with the changeup. Although we've seen Francisco Rodriguez, when he gets ahead 0-2, does not mind taking a chance with that fastball after a couple of breaking balls.
Pujols will get up in this inning. And he got him. 3 pitches. Duncan retired. 1 away.
Well, at times, Francisco Rodriguez overmatches big league hitters. Look at the movement on this pitch. It takes a right turn about halfway to the plate, and too much for Duncan.
His pitches are like playing Nintendo Wii. When you have the controller, you just move it and it goes. I mean, it's amazing. But the work is not done. As Skip Schumacher will now take a chance, and he's been very good this series. And he's been on base a couple times today with a single, a walk, and a run scored. Strike 1 on the breaking ball, and Albert Pujols on deck. So the ultimate confrontation if the Mets are to win this game.
No hitter in baseball on the on deck circle fits the word looming better than Pujols.
Yeah, no doubt about it. One and one to Skip Schumacher. Look out in the crowd. It's shots.
Defense pretty straight up. You can see that the outfield is deep. No doubles. And both managers awaiting this pitch to Schumacher. Santos with the sign. Fastball in. Fastball in. He likes it.
Got him! Back-to-back strikeouts for Frankie Rodriguez. And now the toughest out is El Hombre. Albert Pujols steps to the plate.
You know what's great about that sequence is that Santos called the pitch in. Francisco Rodriguez was thinking about another pitch and said, you know what, Omir, you did call the right pitch, went with it, and that's young catcher calling a nice game behind the plate for the New York Mets.
Oh, there you see, Pujols is 1 for 4. The crowd gets on their feet. What a confrontation this is as the Mets try to win this series. Here we go. Pujols being patient so far.
It's really easy to get ahead of other hitters. Albert comes in there, a little hard to throw one right down the middle. The best swing he's had this series has been on a hanging slider. Fastball in. Did it catch the plate? Good eye by Albert.
And now it's 3-0 at Albert Pujols. You never want to put the game time run on, but how do you approach this now, 3-0?
Well, Francisco Rodriguez, we've seen him do this before. When he is in a situation, he did it against the Yankees in Yankee Stadium. He pitched around Teixeira and got the pop-up, which didn't work out.
He did it in Baltimore against Wigginton. Did not want to pitch to him. Worked around him.
Oh, Amir telling him he could swing here 3-0. He's already done it in this game once.
Ball 4. So Frankie doesn't take a chance after falling behind 3-0 to Pujols. And the tying run for the Cardinals on first base with another big power threat coming to the plate, and Ryan Ludwig, who's got 11 home runs on the year, has been quiet today. Reached on a catcher's interference in the first inning. But he's got a lot of pop, make no mistake.
Well, discretion won over grandeur there by Francisco. First pitch of Ludwig, fastball away.
Just missed. Crowd doesn't like it. Frankie trying to lock down the win and would record his 20th save. It's a time for the major league high if he can do it.
Yeah, I like the fastball choice too. Ludwig also.
So all of a sudden, Frankie has thrown 6 straight out of the strike zone.
One of the things that's hard is Jerry's scratching his head. When you pitch around a guy, sometimes you lose the strike zone, and it's hard to come back against the next hitter and find it again. 3 fastballs in a row.
And he can't control the fastball. You know, he started off the inning with the breaking ball and the changeup, and they were sharp. Fastball not working out here, and after walking Pujols, it's 3-0 to Ryan Ludwig.
And we know what the hitter on deck, Mr. Molina, does in key situations in Flushing. Fastball away again.
Change it up here, Ryan. You keep going with the heat against Ludwig.
Well, Ludwig seems to be, he's hit a 2-run home run in the series on a slider. It's the fastball that he's had trouble with. But this will be 5 in a row.
There goes Pujols. Outside and low, ball 4. And now the tying runs on second. The go-ahead runs on first. And wouldn't you know it, Yadier Molina is the guy that's up at the plate in a huge spot.
Johan Santana just chewed away another fingernail, by the way, in the locker room.
Television might be off by now. Hey, K-Rod's done this, though, this year. He has walked tightrope at times. He has walked guys before. But seemingly he's been in control. He's lost a little bit of that control here. Base hit could tie the game. Pujols runs well. 2 down in the 9th. He did not go.
Dale Scott at first base. I thought he missed that call. Let's see if Yadier Molina goes through. Yeah, that's a swing.
He went. Now the crowd is urging on K-Rod now. They're standing. Kind of that tepid applause like, okay. Throw to second. Oh, into a close play. Pujols almost slid off the base. Castillo thought he had him. Let's see.
Well, it didn't even look like Pujols ever touched the base because Castillo blocked it. See how he got him with that hand? David Wright thinks he's out.
Ryan, you hit it. He may not have gotten it until the end of that play. But you know what? Jerry Meals couldn't see that because he was on the other side of the bag. Either way, 1-0 to Molina now. Pujols the tying run at second. And this is a shot to left field. Reed going back. He makes the catch. And the the Mets win it. Save for K-Rod, a 3-2 win for the Mets, and they finally win a series, taking 3 of 4 from the Cardinals today, a hard-earned victory.
Well, these first-place Cardinals, the Mets needed that series win, 3 out of 4. 20 saves now for Rodriguez. A big series win for Jerry Manuel and his staff.